Check, check. Looks like we're live. Okay, sweet. I'm running a little bit behind this morning, but I marked up the charts on the ES. So it looks like there's a slight short-term uptrend, break new high. Then you get the sideways action, downtrend, break new low. So I'm not looking for anything on the ES chart right now. I don't see any kind of wider trend. It's possible that we get some sort of trend like this at some point. So I'm going to draw that just in case, though it is pretty uncertain at this point. Looks like prices are probably heading towards the overnight lows. In Q, this downtrend looks like it could be correct, but it also could just be this downtrend with a break and new low. So whenever I say this downtrend, I mean this larger downtrend could be correct, though we're kind of cutting through prices right here. And then you also could just view this as this downtrend here with a break and new low. So unless we get like basically a perfect setup, like a perfect 2 legs back, I'll probably not take anything there. So on CL, looks like we have kind of 2 legs down. It's probably not quite measured. Looks like prices didn't quite reach the measured move down. Looks like a downtrend, break new low, and then you get that second sort of leg down after the correction finishes. Now looking at this, we have uptrend, no break and new high. This looks like 2 legs back to me. So we have this first entry, second entry, but on a larger scale, it looks like 2 legs back. So we might get some downward movement here, but I'm not going to take that. There's a lot of upward momentum. It looks like we might be working towards that break and new high. RTY is in a downtrend, so I'm mainly watching the NQ and RTY. Looks like we have a first entry short on here. It might have even gone first entry, second entry, like all in that one bar. But if we get a second entry short there, then I might take that on the NQ. So I'm keeping an eye on the RTY and the NQ. And let's see here. Looking for prices to make another move up. So this is a possible second entry. I didn't watch how this formed, but I'm guessing it broke lower, broke higher, and then broke lower again. Either way, I probably wouldn't take that because it just looks like one leg up. So it's not quite the perfect setup that I'd be looking to take there. And looking at my second monitor right now, I'm just trying to figure out what might be going on. Yes, looks like it could be in some sort of spiking channel, but not sure that yet. Creating the possibility for a second entry short on NQ. But it's looking congestive, far from the EMA, and you're getting close to the lows, so I'm not going to take that, even if there's a bearish bar there. ES gives you a second entry short here, but so far from the EMA, and we already have the break and new low for this downtrend, so I'm not interested in that one. Now we're getting the move up on NQ. That's quite a strong move up. It's congestive here, so you can see the stacking bars here, big bullish bar. If we get some sort of reversal of momentum, then I might be willing to take a short here because it looks like 2 legs back, looking for a break and new low. But prices are moving up really strongly.
Order canceled.
And I don't think that's what you're going to get, but I'm going to leave my order just in case. I noticed whenever I was studying last night that in the last trading session, I exited out of an order too early. I'm actually going to remove this and just play this as a downtrend with a break and new low. By exited out, I mean I canceled the order that I was possibly planning a little bit too early. Okay, so it looks like on CL that this could have been a decent trade for the 2 legs back. I mean, exactly why I didn't take this one. I mean, I was thinking this downtrend was going to get a break and new low, but I was just kind of in a rush, to be honest. So I think that might work out, though. Let's see. Looks like it would have basically come off your order a little bit, or hasn't quite reached it. So trying to get my bearings on what's going on. ES, this major downtrend could be correct, but I'm not sure about that. Right now I'm playing this as this downtrend with a break and 2 legs to a new low. We do get this double bottom here. In Q, I'm playing it similarly. Downtrend has a break and new low, and then a second attempt at that new low, creating a double bottom. produces this strong rally. So there's the potential for a long trade here. Yes, I'm not really thinking long at this point, just kind of neutral. CL, looks like prices are kind of moving sideways. We did get a higher, so like a tick higher there, higher high, and another higher high. We are moving lower now. So this was probably a good trade. Gonna go ahead and mark that. RTY moving down really strongly. Let's extend that out. And I'm going to pull this so the midline fits. Okay. Now I'm going to mark up the trends on my second monitor where I can see all 4 charts, just so I can have an idea of what's going on here. The ES and the incur continuing to rally pretty strongly. So I just want to mention this for later. I need to make sure that I get on earlier, because getting all this movement and not really understanding what's going on is not good. It's like I got on too late. I mean, I just woke up a few minutes later than I normally do. So I got on a little bit late, and it sort of threw me off. Like, I wasn't ready for the day. I wasn't like, I need to be ready to take a trade at 9:30, and I was just getting my bearings straight at 9:30. And RTY is really dropping down strongly. CL, yeah, definitely should have taken that trade on the CL chart. So this one being this sort of 2 legs back right here, I think that was a pretty awesome entry there. Looking for these 2 legs back. So right now I am not really looking for a trade on the ES. I don't really see anything that I'm super interested in. Looks like this uptrend might have a break in new high. We might be finding some resistance around this area. So I want to keep an eye on that, but I don't see anything that I'm like super sure about there. In Q, this was quite a strong rally. It looks like if you draw it tight, it looks like it could already have a break in new high, but I'm going to actually expand out a little bit and play it like this, which also looks like it has a break in new high. If we got a perfect 2 legs back, I might still be willing to take a long, because it's not a very convincing close outside and new high there. The CL has the break and new low for this downtrend. It's looking like a range to me. I'm looking to see if prices are going to come down to this measured move now. And the RTY is continuing to move down strongly, so I'm looking for a short if we can get a decent, ideally a second entry short. Any kind of pullback, though, is what I'm looking for on RTY. Okay, in Q, definitely looks like it has this break a new high. So close outside a new high there. Potential for like maybe a lower high far from the EMA to go short on NQ. We're getting a pullback on RTY. Yes, looks like it's coming close to this triple test, so there is a potential for a short off this. There's not the best reason ever to take a short, given, I mean, it's just kind of like a weak down bias. I don't know if this downtrend is correct. I'm guessing it's, just at this point, guessing this major downtrend is probably not correct, but there is kind of like a weak down bias. This short-term uptrend has played out. If we get a good triple test off of this level, then I might take that. We're getting a pullback on RTY, so I want to draw this short-term trend. So it could be like this, but right now it looks to me like it's more like this. Either way, I'm looking for a second entry short. Trying to figure out exactly where this is, but this will make this the first entry if it breaks lower. So three sort of potential entries that I'm looking for right now. Getting a lot of momentum on RTY. Looks like it might actually be like this after all. Like that. So that's your first entry. Pretty strong up move though. A little bit stronger than I would have liked. So chances are we're not going to get the second entry that I'm looking for. I mean, we're getting a first entry here. We will probably get a second entry, but this is a pretty strong short-term uptrend, and I don't really want to fight against that. Let's flip over to the ES. Looks like we might get that triple test that I was looking for there, but we made a higher high. So given us making that higher high, plus being in an uncertain contextual area, I'm going to skip that, but I want to mark that as a potential. Now let's flip over to the NQ. We have the uptrend break new high ending right at the overnight highs. So if we get a lower high here, I'll probably be interested in taking that. RTY is continuing upwards. So it's possible that this is an overshoot. So if we pull this in tight, it fits well. It's possible this is an overshoot here, leading to this strong break. I'm going to draw the double-sided channel. We are continuing up quite strongly. Getting some resistance on NQ, so finding some resistance there. So looking for maybe a lower high like I mentioned earlier. Lower high or failed second entry. It looks to me like we might move up on the CL. So we have this big leg up. Looks like now we have a downtrend correction, 2 legs, and then a second leg down for the break and new low on that downtrend. So that's all played out. We might get a second leg up now. So keeping an eye on that. If we get some sort of upward movement, then I might be looking to take a long on CL, but you're gonna need to see some more movement first. RTY looks like it's breaking this uptrend. Want to see break a new high of this and then maybe a lower high, or 2 attempts at this high. Looks like it was the right move to skip this triple test on the ES. Prices are continuing up there. So I'll have to take a look at that later. And we are setting up for this possible lower high on the NQ. So right now I'm not seeing it.
Order submitted.
Getting a few stacked dojis. This is a pretty doji-like bar, so not enough bearish momentum there, but I'll look for the failure. So if this breaks higher and gets a nice bearish bar, I'll probably take it as a failed second entry. Trying to just get prices back to the EMA here. So hoping this will turn bullish, tick higher, turn bearish. Getting a lower high after the second entry short on RTY. So we have a first entry, second entry. This is the lower high, but it's going right into the EMA, and this uptrend looks like it's probably going to need a break and new high. So waiting at least for the failed second entry here. And maybe I would consider that, but right now I'm thinking that it's too strong of an obligation to be looking for the break and new high of this correction trend. Flipping back to the NQ. Still waiting on this potential failure if we move up here and get a failed second entry. But we are getting kind of close to the EMA, so it's less likely. Okay, getting this move up now. So first entry, second entry long. If this ticks higher and gets a nice bullish or bearish bar, then I might be interested. There's quite a bullish bar there. So this is not setting up like I sort of would have pictured, and it's not setting up exactly how I would like it. It seems like sort of an odd pattern, but if we get a bearish bar here, I might still be willing to take that. Gonna zoom on in here. Looks like it is moving higher quite a bit there. We're not getting that bearish bar, so let's see what's going to happen. There's still the potential. Okay. Finding some bearish momentum. RTY is getting that failure, but I don't think that I can take that one. So if we check this out, we did get a failed second entry, but it's a lot of stacked bars along the EMA. So I would have preferred a shoot, maybe like a here, and then like a shoot below, and then a pullback. But this is kind of a little bit too neutral for me, so I'm not looking to take that. Flip back to the NQ, see what we get here. We are making a higher high there,
Order
and
canceled.
I think that's reason enough for me to just go ahead and remove that. It's no longer a failure, but you'd be playing this as a triple test after the uptrend is played out. I'll wait for some sort of lower high or something. ES is sort of just chopping sideways. Not even just sort of, it is chopping sideways. Getting this slight range here. So I do want to mark this as a potential as well, because it looks like everything's played out and prices are making this triple test, though it is a higher high. It is a nice bearish bar. It's pretty far from the EMA. So I could see that as being a potential trade. So moving over to the RTY, looks like prices are struggling to make the break and new high for this correction trend. So it could be some sort of maybe an overshoot. Maybe if I pull that down, maybe it's like this, the uptrend, maybe a slight overshoot. This failure, I decided to skip that one. Didn't even break lower, so I wouldn't have really been able to enter that with the way that I enter. But it looks like we might be sort of creeping lower now. First entry, second entry, failure. We have a new high. So at best, you might get a lower high. So I might be looking for a second entry short, maybe. But that's about it there. have some tea this morning instead of coffee. It's black tea though, which generally makes me a little bit jittery. I just didn't have any coffee. Looks like all the charts are moving down. None of them particularly strongly though. Incur has moved a little bit too far for me to consider a lower high now. So I don't think I would want to consider a lower high all the way down here. Maybe the potential for a failed second entry, looking for the reversal. Yes, you could probably redraw this downtrend. I was gonna say you could tighten it up and maybe have it come off this trend line, but you know, now that I look at it, I don't think so. Though this could be correct though. So now that prices are kind of moving more sideways, I'm thinking it could be correct. Maybe this uptrend here has a break and new high. A break and new high, sort of some congestion, just kind of moving sideways overall. Incur, potential for maybe a second entry short. Definitely thinking short here, just not sure exactly what entry would interest me. Looks like we are not indeed turning up, so at some point I was saying that it looks like this could be a leg up with a correction that gets completed, and then we're looking for that second leg up possibly. It doesn't look like that's what's happening. Let's see about... I don't think you can draw a trend off of there, but maybe you can draw one off of... Oops. Keep misclicking there. Maybe you can draw one sort of up like this, in which case maybe it has an overshoot, because that fits pretty well. Maybe that's an overshoot and it's not going to get a break in new high. It's definitely a possibility. And RTY, I do think might have an overshoot here as well. It fits well either way. So it fits well like that with the midline, but also I like how that fits, and it kind of makes sense that we get the strong break afterwards. Looks like prices are moving up to attempt this break a new high for the uptrend now on the RTY. I didn't lock up my phone because I forgot I need to answer a couple texts real quick, which I hate doing during the trading day. But there's a couple things I didn't get to, which is again why I was sort of, right, why I hate being rushed in the mornings. Okay, so phone is finally locked up. I ended up having to hop on the phone. Oh, like a phone call. So let's take a look again. It's looking like this downtrend could be could be correct if I kind of pull this down a little bit. Looks like prices might be holding there. Thankfully, it doesn't look like I missed any entries, but it's going to take me a second to sort of get back into the flow of like what's happening here. We got a lot of tests off this resistance on the NQ. Looks like it formed this range here. We got this bearish bar. Maybe this one could be considered, but I wouldn't want to go, especially for 1-to-1, into this support level. If it was a smaller signal bar and ended sort of bearish and also maybe kind of towards the midline, maybe I'd consider that. We are getting some down movement though, so I am still looking for shorts on NQ. So looking for shorts on NQ, looking for shorts on ES. Both of those ones are moving down right now. CL, everything looks to have sort of played out, and we're just sort of moving sideways now. So you can see the support and the resistance there, and I'm going to remove the measured moves because it doesn't look like those are coming into play. Flipping over to the RTY, looks like we found some support off that level there and some resistance up in this, well, maybe not, but we did attempt this high, so uptrend gets broken, downtrend plays out, and then going for the new high, isn't able to reach it, gets this little bit of congestive action before prices are moving down to test this break and new low. So maybe this is not an overshoot after all. Let's pull it down there, and yeah. So now we do have this break and new low for RTY. Looks like we just made it. So I'm not looking for any more shorts. I don't think there's anything that I really could have taken there. So looking for shorts on the ES and NQ, and that is about it right now. ES has come off the overnight lows now. So we have reached those overnight lows. Looking for a possible second entry short. Same with the NQ. I think I would like it on the NQ more, actually. Still looking for a second entry short on either one of these, the NQ or the ES. CL kind of looks like just range-like. Not really too much going on there. RTY has made its break and new low for this downtrend. Let's pull this back over here. Made the break and new low. and we'll see where we're going to go from here. Either sideways or maybe a reversal. Could just continue down though. In fact, we could get some sort of downtrend like that, maybe a secondary one. It's a possibility. Yes, getting a pretty strong move up here off of the overnight lows. So let's see if this downtrend's able to hold. I want to note that prices came off the main side and weren't able to reach the opposite side. The further up prices go here, the less likely I am to take a second entry short. In fact, if I redraw this downtrend, looks like this might already have played out. It is clearly a strong move through the EMA though, so there's still the potential. I'm not exactly sure what would make it, so I would take this and what would make it so I wouldn't. But I think ideally I'd get a break of the short-term uptrend, move to a new high with the bearish bar, and then a short there. The ES over here is looking like prices might hold this downtrend. So let's see what they're going to do here. With the first entry, so first entry there, looks like we might get a second entry short. So let's see if prices are able to do that. Basically looking for the same entry on the ES and the NQ, looking for that second entry short. Both of them are getting pretty close there. So we have the first entry here, the first entry there, move up. Okay, both of them are looking very close to setting up right now. You go ahead and
order submitted.
enter an order.
Order
Let me
canceled.
change this to the ES.
Order submitted.
So that's broken higher. If we get a second entry short here, the nice bearish bar, there's a good chance that I'll be interested. Getting ready in case this turns down. So far, not seeing any bearish movement here. Just been a pretty neutral bar. And it looks like it's going to close pretty neutral as well. It's not bearish enough for me.
Order canceled.
So if this does continue lower, then maybe a lower high here. Let's flip over to the NQ because this is still setting up as a potential trade. Gotta switch this to the NQ bracket. I do want to take this if it ends up bearish. It is a little bit congestive there, and it would be right into the EMA. But if we get a nice bearish bar, then I think I'm gonna take that there.
Order filled.
I think I was a little bit off. So definitely a couple negatives there. And I didn't take it in quite the right place, so I took it a couple ticks down. So I'm having some trouble getting these orders in the exact right place for the NQ. Looks like those are in the right place there, but I did enter. So let's see, I got in at 25. And so 3 ticks down, so that's not great. I definitely lost a few ticks where I wanted to have it 1 tick below this bearish bar, but I ended up taking it 3 ticks below. So let's see if we're able to get out of that. Definitely a couple negatives there with this congestion, going right into the EMA, which was just held. So recognize that it's not the best trade ever, but I think it might work out. So let's see what's going to happen. Flip over to the ES. I'm seeing if I change that bracket, I want to make sure it doesn't mess up the NQ, because there's potential for a lower high on the ES still. Noticing that I am tensing up a little bit. I'm a little bit tighter. Not really shaky. Heart's going a little bit faster, but not extremely so.
Target
swallowing
filled.
A little bit harder. Looks like I got out of that NQ trade. So we'll have to see if that was actually a good risk to take or not. But I think it might have been. Looking for a lower high on the ES, and I still could consider a lower high on the NQ as well. Not really much happening on the CL, but the RTY, this downtrend is holding. Downtrend that I had earlier. So there's the potential for a second leg down. So this is the potential here. Let's extend that out. And I might be willing to play that downtrend, but I'm not 100% sure because it is a retest trend there. Going back to the ES, it looks like the chances of getting a lower high here are pretty low. NQ is moving down pretty strongly there. So looks like this was probably a worthwhile trade, though it was a little bit aggressive, as I mentioned, with that congestion and going right into the EMA there. But it is moving down very, very strongly. Okay, this downtrend is still looking correct. I'm actually going to adjust it up a little bit, like that. So I like it so far. Haven't really found a bunch of support off this overnight high or overnight low. We did kind of rally a little bit, but turned back down and going right through it. CL continuing to sort of chop sideways in what looks like this smaller range here. Uptrend, break new high. Potential for maybe some sort of lower high or failed second entry off of this resistance level, creating maybe like a triple test type of deal, but not seeing it as of right now. And not something that I would be looking to take anyway, but just wanted to point that out. RTY continuing down. I would definitely consider taking a short here. It's always sketchier taking a short looking for a break and new low of a retest trend. So this is the main trend. It has kind of two legs up, and it has a break and new low, creating the secondary trend. So taking a short looking for the break and new low of this is always sketchier. But if we get a really good setup, then I might be willing to do it, like a perfect kind of two legs back, 1, 2 legs back. Then I might be willing to take that. Let's see if that'll happen or not here. So the RTY is the only chart that I'm kind of considering an entry right now. Looks like we have a short-term uptrend. Probably about to get a close outside. Could be a tad wider though. Just have to see how this bar ends up. I'm going to zoom in here because I don't necessarily need to see that whole entire downtrend. Really, all I need to see is that this is the case. Definitely feeling a little bit caffeinated right now. I can feel it sort of behind my eyes a little bit. Not like super hyped up, but like I feel a certain something in my vision. So it could be like that, could be a little bit wider. Either way, it looks like there's a closeout side now. So looking for the closeout side, new high, creating a possible second entry short there. Something that I might like. It looks like the NQ might also get a second entry short. So we have this spike down first entry, creating the possibility for a second entry. And I am actually going to probably prep an order for that because it looks like this might set up pretty well here. It's a strong leg down. Looks like it's probably going to need to break a new low.
Order submitted.
Looks like you have a short-term uptrend here. It has a break a new high. The second leg is bigger, which usually I don't love. But if you get a nice bearish bar here, there's a good chance that I'll be interested. It's moving up pretty strongly though.
Order canceled.
Right. So it's not the perfect 2 legs back that I was thinking that it was going to be. So that's a pretty strong leg back actually. RTY might get the entry that I'm looking for though. Possible second entry short on the ES as well. So 2 possible entries. I don't think I'll be looking to take anything on the NQ. That was a really strong move up there. So I don't think I want to risk that on the NQ. But I might be willing to take one on the ES or the RTY. It's pretty tough to consider multiple entries at the same time. It's nice to have more opportunities, but it is definitely challenging to try and keep my eye on the ball whenever there's like 3 balls. Continuing to move up strongly on NQ through the EMA. Feeling myself getting tighter, trying to relax. Just kind of chopping sideways on RTY here. Second entry didn't set up right on the ES or on the RTY, but it's still possible that we get some sort of visual second entry or visual 2 legs, because right now it looks like we did get a break in new high, but we're sort of just moving sideways, so I'm not seeing kind of what I was looking for there. CL, there's nothing really interesting happening, just kind of moving sideways, breaking out of this range or out of this resistance a little bit. So nothing to really think about on CL. Okay, so might be looking for a lower high on the RTY. Potential for a lower high on the ES, but prices are looking a lot more sideways there, so it's a little bit less likely. With the RTY, I could definitely see getting some sort of lower high if prices don't move too far here. I do believe they're probably going to move to this break a new low of this retest trend. The ES, as I mentioned, prices are looking a little bit sideways, so I was hoping we get a second entry short kind of right off the EMA after this 1-2 legs up, but that doesn't look like what we're going to get. And if we get a lower high here, price is looking pretty choppy and sideways. So I don't think that I would really want to take that. Popping back to the NQ, it looks like this became, so this started out as a 1, and I was hoping for a second leg back and then moving lower, but now it just kind of looks like this is the short-term uptrend. Prices have broken outside of that, and it's looking like they're probably going to want to test that, the extreme of this short-term uptrend. Trying to relax. Feels like it's been a little bit of a hectic day so far for me. Getting on a little bit late, then having to answer a couple texts and hop on a phone call, which I really hate doing during the day. Again, is why I need to make sure that I wake up a little bit earlier. I actually forgot to set an alarm, and I just happened to wake up like 10 minutes after my alarm normally goes off, which is great because I totally could have woken up later. So that ended up kind of working out, but at the same time, I need to make sure that I'm getting up on time, so I have time to deal with those things before the trading day, and get on here in a timely manner, so I'm not feeling like I'm rushing around, because it's crazy. I still feel that, even though I'm, you know, basically an hour removed from that kind of rushing around, but I still feel it. I still feel it affecting my trading. So getting that good start, I think, is super important, and I'm gonna have to put some more emphasis on that. Looks like we're just moving straight down to that breaking new low. So no setup here on RTY, unfortunately. We're just moving down to this breaking new low. There's not much I can do here, especially as we've moved to this double bottom. I don't think we've quite hit the breaking new low, but we've moved to a double bottom. So I'm not really looking for anything on RTY anymore, though I do think that we might head down to this measured move at some point. I think we might hit that measured move. We'll have to see if prices are able to get down there or not. Okay, let's flip back to the ES. So ES did get this, well, I guess this didn't tick higher. I was gonna say it got the lower high, but it didn't yet. I don't think this overnight low is actually helpful, really, at all. So I'm gonna remove that and just play this for now. Looks like we did get a spike down, the short-term downtrend spike down. Now we're moving sideways. It's tempting to draw a range here, and it could be correct. It could be right, but I'm not sure. NQ. This uptrend plays out at the overnight highs. Get a range, downtrend, breakout, pullback, creating this short-term uptrend, break new high. Testing that to breakout, pullback. We get the strong short-term downtrend, leg up. Looks like this might be a short-term uptrend with a break new high, but the second one's so big that I don't think that that's the case. I think this is probably just its own sort of uptrend. And looks like we're moving to the break new low of this short-term downtrend. So not really looking for much on NQ either. CL is actually rallying up, so we might make this second leg up after all. So I mentioned this earlier, and then I ended up removing it after prices moved sideways. But look at that, we are moving up on out of there. So downtrend gets a break and new low, creates a double bottom, and then now we are moving up and out. So let's draw that. This was some prior resistance. I'm going to leave that. This double bottom, leave that as well, just in case. But we are moving up and out of these overnight highs. So right now, possible long entry on CL, but it'd have to set up pretty well. And right now, it's a little too early to be looking for that long setup. I just want to keep that in mind. Don't want to forget that. But as we break above these overnight highs, where prices previously found some resistance, I'm expecting prices to come back to this level, possibly find support, maybe come back within the range. So let's see. So we do end up getting the lower high. So there we is, or there we is. There we are. This is the lower high that I was thinking about on the ES, but it's kind of moved too far from the EMA, going right into the lows. So not looking to take that one. Too bad we didn't get a good signal bar here, because that would have been a really nice trade. But it's good that it did happen. Did end up setting up on the NQ. Looks like we did get the not quite the breaking new low, but we got a double bottom there. So we're looking good there. So might still consider a second entry short on the ES. I want to look at this NQ. Looks like there could be a downtrend in play. Could be something like that. Possibility. Not sure about it, but it could be in play. So I want to keep an eye on that. So might consider some sort of short entry on NQ, but not exactly sure where that's going to be yet. And let's fix this up here. Yes, like I said, I might consider some sort of short, maybe a second entry short. Looks like this downtrend is probably correct and is still in play here. This range is not. We do get 2 legs back, break new high, and then we're moving lower. RTY, everything's played out. Downtrend, break new low. The secondary downtrend, break new low. We might go down to hit this measured move, but I'm expecting some sideways action for a little while. CL, expecting prices to come back and test this resistance here. This actually might be a spike in channel up, now that I look at it. Could be a spike in channel like that, maybe. So it would be odd to start the trend there. Okay. Okay, continuing down on NQ and the ES. Trying to see if this old resistance is going to hold as support on CL. Not feeling super hopeful about looking for a long trade though. Really moving down strongly on the NQ. In fact, if that downtrend is correct, we are overshooting it quite a bit. So if this downtrend is correct, we're overshooting. Had to sneeze there. Let's pull this down. So maybe something like that, but could also be if it starts here. That doesn't really fit any better though. I mean, there could not be a downtrend there like at all. It's definitely potential. Okay, so we do end up moving up on CL, so we find some support there and we move up to the break and new high for this uptrend. So I do believe that this is probably already played out to the upside. So kind of tough to look for any more longs there unless there's a larger trend in play. But there is the potential for a short though. We have tested this, so we're not looking for the prices to pull back. Probably not looking for a short actually, now that I say that. I was thinking that after this uptrend is played out, we might get a lower high to come back to the EMA and come back to this resistance. But the thing is, we already tested it and found some strong buying there. So I'm not like dying to take a short. I'm just gonna wait and see what kind of happens there. Yes, definitely thinking short. Possibility for a second entry short. We're just within this downtrend. To me, it looks like after this correction, we get a 1-2 legs down. They look like they could be measured. 1-2 measured legs down. So we'd need a completed correction for me to go short. No, I'm not going to take one without a completed correction. NQ is coming off of this prior support level. So let's see if that's able to come into play at all. It could end up being that these are the range lows. So these are the overnight lows here, and these are just a double bottom. It could end up being the range lows. So like I said, I want to wait for a full correction to be finished. So I don't want to take, like if we just get a second entry short here, that's kind of like that's an okay second entry short. I'm not going to take it because we've already made these two measured legs down after this correction played out. So I'm thinking that we're going to need like a full correction playing out or coming off the trend line, something like that to go short, especially because we're coming up short of this opposite side of the trend line. So we're coming off the main side repeatedly, but failing to come to the opposite side. Just a few things there. The NQ, finding a little bit of buying here. I think pretty similarly, I'd want a full correction here. Kind of looks like 2 legs down. So very similar to the ES right now, except for we're coming off some possible support on the NQ. I believe that is probably the short-term uptrend. Let's pull it all the way out here just so it doesn't move around on me. So if we get a close outside and a new high, big bearish bar, I might still be willing to take that. Same with the ES. CL continuing higher. So continuing higher here. Definitely the possibility for a lower high because we're so far from the EMA. But I don't think that's quite right. I think we're going to continue up here. I don't know for sure. So whenever I don't know for sure, best thing to do is nothing. Looks like we still don't have a convincing close outside, to be honest. So I think that we're still moving up there. I think this is still within the same uptrend. We kind of sold off right in the end. I don't know. We sold off right in the end. I thought we were going to end super bullish, but we didn't. Switch my attention over to the 4 charts so I can watch both the ES and the NQ and see if there's anything setting up on either one. Basically, those two are trading in tandem for the most part, looking for basically the same entries on those ones today. I just noticed on the ES, it looks like we might have kind of 2 legs down. So we have like this one, we get this pause, and then second leg. Looks like it could be valid. Definitely getting a close outside of this short-term uptrend. So if we get a nice close outside and a new high, so a new high after this, then maybe that's a possibility. Moving sideways on NQ. I do believe we've definitely had a close outside now. It's possible this is a close outside a new high. It's not very convincing though. Big bearish bar on CL as this lower high that I was mentioning. So possibility that that ends up being a good one. Maybe it would have been better just to take that as engulfing. Either way though, like I said, I don't think this is going to be the best trade ever. It could though. It could just drop right on down and head right inside this this range again, but wasn't willing to take that. So I like how the ES is setting up so far. If we get this move up to a new high, nice bearish bar, I would like that a lot. Looks like this is becoming a whole range. Looks like that to me. We have the double top, some support. Let's see if we're able to hold there. Yes, still the possibility for a short, but need to see basically, I mean, at this point, I would need to see basically a full second leg up, or at least something similar to like a full second leg up. Kind of chopping sideways on the NQ, basically very, very little chance that there's a short on the NQ at this point, just with the way it's looking. Looks like the CL has a break a new high. I do believe it will probably continue higher. Not sure though. I mean, we found support off of this old resistance. Pushed up pretty strongly. Looks like we're holding the EMA, so that's why I kind of think we're moving higher. Plus it looks like prices are wanting to test this measured move up. But not sure there. So definitely nothing to construct a trade off of there. Moving down on the NQ, pushing through this possible support. Looks like this is probably not worth keeping on there, to be honest. Yes, continuing to move down as well. So these two continuing to move basically in tandem. Yep. Thinking shorts. And CL moving higher. So looks like I might have been right about that. We did get the second leg up on the CL. I guess this arrow should really go there. Maybe taking that as engulfing back to the EMA, so it's a possibility, but like I said, I don't love that one. Now it looks like an uptrend with a break and two legs up. 1, 2, 2 legs. I feel like Al Brooks would probably say this is a good trade because you had the clear break in 2 legs and a bearish bar right there. So check that one out. It's definitely a potential. Again, I don't really like taking more risky trades like that. I'm just not good enough, to be honest, to take ones like that. I would lose more often than I'd win. NQ, this downtrend looking like it could be correct as prices come close to the opposite side there. Not really seeing anything that I'm interested in. The closest thing that I can think of is going to the CL and looking at maybe a lower high. So now that we've, to me, it looks like this uptrend has a break in 2 legs to a new high. After that, if we get some sort of big bearish bar, lower high, still far from the EMA, it'd have to set up like pretty perfectly. There's not really any room for error on that one. Then maybe that's a possible entry. Have to see if that happens though. Probably not. Looks like we are moving higher, and this is probably not going to be the top as I thought it was. So I thought it was this, break 2 legs higher, big bearish bar. This was thinking this might be the top before we get at least a 2-legged correction down. But by the way it's looking, prices are probably continuing upwards there. On the ES, just kind of chopping sideways. We reached that measured move down, got a leg up, wasn't able to play out, leg down, creating a higher low. So kind of moving sideways there. The NQ, sort of same deal, kind of moving sideways. Yep, CL. RTY is finding some buying there, so I'm going to remove that range. Doesn't look like it's correct. I'm going to put this support in instead. And I don't really know about this uptrend. It doesn't look quite right to me, at least right now, but I'm going to draw it just in case, because it still could come into play. It still could be right. But everything looks like it's played out to the downside. Downtrend, break, new low. This secondary downtrend gets a break and new low. Even the shorter term downtrend looking for the break and new low for this one has a break and new low. Find some support, triple test. Yeah, now we're moving higher. So RTY, if it continues up, proves itself that it is going higher, then maybe I'll look for some sort of long on that one. Because I mean, everything's played out to the downside. Looks like things are sort of reversing, but I would be surprised if we just reverse up. Generally, we'd see some sideways action before we move up there. Moving back to the CL, we are just moving up against these highs right now. I'm thinking that I was probably incorrect that this was the high, and we might end up continuing higher there. Well, you know, again, not that I think that this is like the high before we just drop lower. It could be, but what I was at least thinking is we were going to make a two-legged correction down, at least get some down movement here. But ultimately, I think we're probably going to test this measured move. So longer term target, measured move, shorter term target, I was thinking we're going to move lower, but with how prices are moving here, doesn't necessarily look like that's going to be the case. And got exactly 1 hour left now. Not too bad. I forgot I had a protein shake over here. Okay, moving higher on CL. So looks like I was incorrect that this is the high. Go ahead and take that off there. And we're probably moving up to this measured move. Looks like prices are just going to go ahead and shoot on up there. Trying to see if there's any kind of larger trend going on, but I don't think so, not yet. There's always like a little bit that drips on me, so I usually lick that, but I know it looks weird. Whenever I was watching this video back, I was like, why that looks so strange. I mean the video from last week. Anyway. Curious to see if this is a second measured leg up. Looks like we've expanded past that there. Not really looking for anything. Not really anything to see. Looks like this might have been 2 legs up as well. Just taking a look at the possibilities. So this could just be kind of 2 legs up before we maybe continue down. I wouldn't be surprised if we reach this measured move down. But as of right now, I'm not really looking for anything. Could be a little bit wider on this trend if this continues to hold. But it doesn't look terribly strong, at least not as of right now, because you're coming off this main side, if this is correct, and not coming off the opposite side. So just kind of have this drawn here. Like I said, I don't know if it's correct, and I'd be hesitant to play it, at least until it becomes more proven. If we shot up now and reached this opposite side, I think that'd prove it enough to me. But as of right now, on the fence. Yes, continuing to move sideways, definitely congestive. Don't exactly know where the range highs would be, but at least as of right now, this congestion clear the highs there. NQ looks just about the same, moving sideways in congestion. CL, we're getting real close to this measured move. Yep, that's about it. So not too much going on now. Seems pretty typical, actually, from my review of last Wednesday. Same thing, around 11, it like slowed down significantly. Before that, there's quite a bit of movement, but about 11 was whenever I started to get a little bit antsy, a little bit fidgety. Market was moving slower. I'm definitely feeling about the same right now. About the same as I did that last trading session. I'm definitely feeling tempted to check my balance in the account, but I know that's counterproductive, so I'm not going to do that. I'm just trading sim, but I still, of course, like to see that go up. And I'm tempted to check that and see how much the trade was from today, but it doesn't matter. It's just going to put me in the wrong mindset. I'm also tempted to check the YouTube stream, see if anybody's watching. If you are, great, thank you for watching, but I don't really care if anybody is, to be honest. I don't check the chats, so if anybody has chatted, I don't see them until the very end. But I'm not going to check that either. I mean, there's just no point. I'm just going to take my eye off the ball. You know, ball right now is the markets, even though there's no potential setups. Always have to be watching just in case. I don't really like that trend. I'd rather just play that as shorter term stuff. Could end up being a spike in channel, possibly. Maybe off these two swings. Maybe. Possibility. Don't know. Gonna put it there for now. Oops. Finally getting some up movement out of this congestive area on NQ. Nothing to the point where I'd want to take a setup. I'm not sure about this downtrend still, but it does look like it could be correct, so I'm leaving it. I do like the downtrend on the ES, so I'm leaving that one. Looks like we'll probably follow suit on the ES, I'm guessing. With the breakout on the NQ, chances are we'll see the same on the ES. Well, actually, going back to the NQ, it closed right back within, so maybe not. Might have finally found a top on CL. So maybe we just needed to. So to me, it looks like this is an uptrend here. So possibly a little bit of a spike in channel. Although if you pull this down, it doesn't really matter because you could just put it there. And it doesn't really matter. But anyway, uptrend break. It looks like it's 2 legs to new high. But then the second leg is made up of 2 legs. So sort of hard to time that top there. That's why I don't take those. Yeah. It just crossed my mind that with trading all four of these markets, maybe it makes sense to just trade until like 11, because it really slows down around 11. It's not really anything happening on any of them, so I'll have to take a look at my my notes and my past videos and see if I've even taken a trade after 11. It's possible that I haven't, to be honest. And if that's the case, then maybe I only trade for an hour and a half. Moving lower on NQ and ES. Getting some downward action. Downward there. Same with the NQ. Finally coming off these overnight lows. Let's see how we react there, if we get any kind of reaction at all. RTY, I'm just going to go ahead and remove this spiking channel, because I don't think that's correct either. Possibility for a second entry long, but the thing is, maybe this uptrend is correct, in which case maybe you're looking for a break in new high, but that's a pretty big maybe, and the overall bias has been down, kind of choppy on the upside. I'm playing these shorter term trends. I'm not going to take that, but I do realize that it could be a possible second entry. Possibility. CL is just continuing on higher here. So as I keep saying, that it's really tough to pick tops. I mean, look at this. Each time I think like, okay, so I thought maybe we had a top here, thought maybe we had a top here, thought maybe we had one here, and look at that, we're just continuing higher. So those are really hard to pick, and gives me some feedback that, yeah, I'm not good enough to pick those. Here we are, we broke higher, price is continuing to sort of move sideways with this bar. Looks like it might just give you a reversal, might even give you a trap right here. So maybe a failed second entry, trap to go short after the 2 legs up. It's also a possibility, and in that light, now that I think about that, and now that I see what it's kind of doing here, yeah, don't even want to really consider that one. You might even consider the short, to be honest. And that's why I can't take it either direction. I mean, a second ago I was thinking, oh, you might want to go long, and now I'm thinking, oh, you might want to go short, and that's definitely too ambiguous for me. But I could see that as being a short as well. After this 2 measured legs up, and if you're playing the shorter term trends, then short term uptrend, break, and new high, where all of these short term uptrends have played out, maybe that's a failed second entry to consider there. Don't know, gonna have to look at that area later, because clearly I'm confused. I think there's some sort of bigger trend going on CL. I'm not exactly sure where it is yet, but it looks like prices are moving up something there. So I looked at this trend previously. I'm going to pull this back up and see if that's, doesn't look right to me. Played with this one as well. It doesn't look right. Just going to remove this for now. I think it's actually like this. As far as this trend goes, I like that one. I like that one a lot. Looking at the opposite side, see if we can get anything to fit there. I mean, maybe it is just kind of off here. Like that. Not sure about that. We did hit the measured move though, so let's see what's gonna happen. Oops. Don't need those. Pull that back. So possibility, see how prices kind of react. Maybe there's a long entry that could be setting up on the CL. Yes, chopping lower. Just chopping down. You've reached the measured move for this larger leg. 1, 2 on a very larger scale. 1, 2 on these smaller legs. So everything's kind of played out to the downside, except for this larger downtrend that's still in play. Incur, this downtrend might be correct, although I'm not sure about that one. Bouncing off the overnight lows. Not really finding any support there, though. I mean, we are finding some support, but we're not finding, we're not rallying. We're not finding a bunch of buyers there. CL really continuing higher. Let's go ahead and take a look at what it would look like that. Maybe that's the case. Let's see how that reacts. Definitely some strange trends going on this one. Take another look at this one. This could be a spike in channel, but it doesn't look quite right though. It doesn't look quite right like that. I definitely don't like anything. Oh shoot, maybe. Maybe. I keep hitting the wrong thing. Okay, NQ is broken through that overnight low. ES is moving down too, so both of those are moving down. Let's see if the opposite side of this downtrend is going to hold. It doesn't look like it. Let's pull that in a little bit. Maybe we can still get that to fit. Something like that, maybe. So looking for shorts on NQ and ES and a possible long on CL. I want to be careful not to overfit this trend because right now I might be overfitting it right now, making these possible opposite side, making the opposite side fit here where it might not. So just want to be careful about taking a long here because I'm sort of uncertain about what's, I mean, I feel like I might understand what's going on, but a little bit uncertain. So going back to what I was saying about potentially getting off at 11, well, now we're getting quite a bit of movement, and I'm saying, well, I'm sort of glad that, you know, I'm still here. So maybe just better to stay on until 12 like I normally do. At one point I tried to stay on all day, and I did. I successfully did it, but man, it was slow, and it got real boring, and then I didn't have any time to grow my business. And in order to keep trading, I need to make money from my business. So it was a little bit tough. I think trading until 12 is kind of the best case scenario for myself personally. I mentioned on RTY that this might be a good short. I mean, after I said this might be a good long, I said this might be a good short, and it looks like prices are moving lower there. So I guess my second read on what was going on was better than my first. So might be looking for a short entry. Want to keep that this support in mind, but we're getting a little bit of a downtrend there. So might be looking for a short entry on RTY. Looking for shorts on ES and NQ, definitely ES for sure. NQ, sort of, we're kind of coming off what looks like the opposite side of this downtrend. So again, would need basically a full correction back in order to consider anything. Looking at this after the fact, there is a second entry short and triple test kind of off the EMA. So hindsight trade there, but it is kind of aggressive. Just want to mark that in hindsight. Go look at that later. CL continuing to chop higher. So maybe it is something like this. After all, let's just go ahead and keep watching and seeing what's going on. So nothing that's particularly close to setting up, but definitely some potential trades here. Shorts on ES, short on NQ, long on CL, short on RTY. We're moving up strongly on CL, very strongly. Picked up a lot of momentum. So look at that. Let's see how we react up here. So possible long setup on CL. We're getting a pullback now. We did bounce exactly off of this major uptrend opposite side, but I'm highly uncertain about this one. This measured move doesn't look like it came into play at all. Prices didn't even really pause there, so I'm not really going to consider that in my analysis. It's possible that we get a second entry long though, playing the shorter term uptrend here, this one. But it is in conflict with the possible major uptrend that is unconfirmed, coming off the opposite side, expecting prices to go down to the main side if this is correct. But again, it's highly uncertain. I am more sure about this shorter term one. So if we get a good setup, I would play the shorter term one, most likely, over the larger one. RTY continuing down, potential for a short. So if we break this downtrend and get like a second entry short, that could be a potential. ES, looking for shorts. Looks like you might be able to draw some sort of other trend down here. So maybe you can treat that as a spike and look at this as maybe a trend down, or something like this, maybe. But right now I don't find that incredibly useful. Same with the CL. CL, it's kind of a little bit clearer that that's probably correct on the way down. A little bit clearer to me. Also looking for a short on this one, but again, we're coming off the opposite side. The reason that I might still consider one though is we came off the opposite side here. We're not able to come back to main. Came back down here, still not able to come back to the main side. Came back down, still might not be able to come back to the main side. So let's see how this correction plays out. I would like to see basically a full completed correction over like a lower high second entry. Got to be careful. This correction was continuing on CL and I basically completely forgot about it. So need to be careful to sort of pay more attention there. So I could have missed something. We are turning down strongly, so it makes me think that I probably won't play this trend. So this shorter trend. I might end up just playing the larger one. Let's see how it plays out though. Strong move up. So strong move up in the NQ and the ES, and strong move down in CL. kind of a lot going on right now. There's basically every single chart has a potential setup, some of them closer than others. Yes, you have this short-term leg back. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that. Looks like it might get a break in new high. If it does and you get a good bearish bar with the second entry short, I would like that probably. Same with the NQ, basically looking very similar to the ES. So I'm watching those two for second entry shorts slash 2 legs back. And CL, there's the potential for a second entry long. So we have this. If we come back and we get a nice bullish bar, I might consider that, though it's not exactly what I'd be looking for. I would prefer to have a break in new low and then maybe a higher low. But there is a possibility that I take a long entry here if it sets up really well. So right now the ES and NQ are very close to a setup, so I'm going to flip over here. Very close to a second entry short. It wouldn't be ideal because we're not back to the main side, but as I said, we've been repeatedly failing to come back to the main side of this trend line. So it's a possibility, though this is a stronger push up than the previous pushes up. So I need to see that as well. I don't think this is coming into play really at all. I'm going to remove that so it doesn't affect my judgment.
Order
potential
canceled.
For a short on ES, potential for a short on NQ, potential for a long on CL. So far not setting up right on CL. You can see I haven't gotten that bullish bar that I'm looking for. I'd have to get a very specific type of bullish bar there. Let's flip to the ES. And go ahead and enter
order
a
submitted.
sell limit there in case we get a good bearish bar here. Getting some momentum to the downside.
Order filled.
Looks like the order's already in the right place. So a little bit of momentum there, not a extreme amount, but it looks like the short-term option has a break in new high. There's a bearish bar there. Overall bias is down, so we might get out of that, but prices are turning up, so looks like we might just get stopped out. You'll switch over to the NQ, where there is still a possible trade here going on. Whoops. And let's switch the bracket. We are moving up on the ES. Looks like we're probably going to get stopped out on that one. Still the potential for a short on NQ. Getting closer to this trend line. Got to zoom in here. We still haven't reached that high, so even if we get a bearish bar there, there's nothing I can really do. Getting a second entry short on RTY. First entry, second entry. I haven't been watching that one close enough to take that. So nothing that I can do there. This is another area where there's kind of a little bit too much going on at one time for me to comprehend. So CL, we have a potential for a failed second entry short, but it looks like we are probably going to head lower, so I don't think I'm going to look for anything there. It's kind of too choppy. It's not exactly what I was looking for a long setup. Closest is this short setup on NQ as a possibility. Looks like we're about to get stopped out on the ES. Price is looking really choppy and sideways there. So looking real choppy and sideways. Not getting any sort of down follow through momentum. Still a possibility, but looking unlikely. Getting close to the break a new low for this correction. So after that, after this is played out, we did get a double bottom there. So after this is played out, if we get some sort of lower or higher low, then maybe I'll be looking to take that long. So it's definitely a potential. RTY, looks like this bar never actually broke lower, looking super sideways. Either way, I think I'm just gonna not really consider that one. Flip back to the NQ. We did break higher there, so I'm gonna go ahead and put in an order just in case we turn lower here. Looks like we might. On the 2 legs up to a trend line. And if that breaks lower, I'm going to take that. All right, let's hope this comes back. It did come back to me there. Let's go ahead and put that bracket in. So basically taking the same trade on the ES as I have on the NQ. We have basically the same trade there. And now my heart's really going. Now that I have now that I have 2 entries simultaneously, I definitely feel my heart rate pick up there. And just want to mention the NQ is not quite a second entry short actually, because the first entry, second entry is there. It's technically a third entry short, but it looks like 2 legs up with a bearish bar off of what I have as the trend line. So that's what I'm seeing there. And looking for a potential long entry on CL. So I just caught myself thinking, man, I really hope these work out. That would be a really great day if I had, 3 winners. But then I thought, well, who really cares? I'm hoping that my read of the chart is correct. But if it's not, then I'll study it and I'll learn from it, and that's all there is to it, So trying to shift my mindset to that definitely helps me sort of calm down a little bit, get my ego less involved. Because sometimes I know I've caught myself thinking, oh, I really want this trade to work out, but it's like, it doesn't matter, if it works out or it doesn't. Just learn from it either way. RTY, looking like we are getting a little bit of a move lower now. So we didn't end up breaking below that sort of bearish bar that I was thinking could be a potential second entry short to take. We broke below this inside bar. So yeah, nothing that I could have taken there because of how that sort of played out. I'm not sure if I would have wanted to take that anyway. So we're moving up on the ES and the NQ. So it looks like we got stopped out on NQ. Prices are moving higher there, and it looks like the ES is probably going to follow suit. So here we are. We got stopped out on NQ. And let's take a look at the ES. Looks like it's getting close to our target there. With how strongly the NQ is moving up, I'm guessing we'll probably go ahead and get stopped out on this one too. So unfortunate, but as I said, doesn't really matter. I'll just have to look back and study that later. With that, I guess it probably means that my downtrend is incorrect. Possibly, at least. It still looks like it could be correct. Maybe I have it a little bit too tight. Maybe it's right up there like that. But if that's the case, I don't know. I'll have to play around with it and see. Looks like my short on the ES is still surviving somehow. Somehow still surviving there. And let's go back to the CL. So this one I'm looking for a potential long. It's looking less likely that I'd be interested in one because of how the way that prices are playing out. I was thinking that maybe after this short-term downtrend got a break in a new low, that would get a strong push above the EMA and a higher low. But instead we got a double bottom, and now prices are just sort of stalling, going sideways. This isn't telling me that there's a bunch of strength here. So it's not really what I'm seeing there, not a bunch of strength. I'm going to mark this green on RTY, not because I think I could enter it, because I couldn't. It didn't actually end up breaking lower there, but because I sort of just passed up on this area. Even though I saw it as a potential, I just sort of passed up on it. So I want to look back at this later on. So that's why I'm marking this one. ES is getting mighty close there, tapping off the order. So it looks like we might end up getting out, but it's quite congestive. So anything could happen. Switching back to the RTY, everything's played out to the downside again, so nothing to really take there. We got this downtrend break, new low, 2 legs up, downtrend break, new low. Makes a higher low. So it's still possible that we're creating some sort of sideways action, maybe a slightly larger range in there. But we'll have to just wait and see. Not really any entries to take. Looks like we got out of the ES. Prices I don't believe have ticked through yet, so got out on the touch, which doesn't always happen. So it's not ideal. If prices don't continue, well, there we go. Okay, we did get some continuation lower, so we'll have to see later on whether this was a good trade or not. Sort of on the fence about that. Whenever it just sort of moves around sideways, generally they're not great entries if it doesn't just take off in your direction. So looking back at the NQ, looks like my timing was just a little bit off there. We might be turning down anyway. CL, not getting that move above the EMA for the higher low that I was hoping you might get. RTY continuing down. Let's see how prices react off of this support. That is what I am currently looking at. Still the closest to a setup would probably be NQ. Taking another look at this. looks like the downtrend could be a little bit wider. Maybe I had it too tight here. And if that's the case, then this uptrend has now played out with 2 legs to a new high, and there's the potential for a lower high or a failure. So that's what I'm looking for on the NQ. Part of me wants to say, well, I already took 3 trades. I had 2 winners and 1 loser. So I'm tempted to say, well, let's just go ahead and pack this one up and call it. But I have to remember why I'm here, and I'm here to learn. And I can't learn if I'm not here and I'm not taking the trades that I think are good. So I know I'm still in a good state of mind, so I'm just going to take whatever I think is good regardless of my past trades. So looking at the potential for a lower high on ES and NQ. So it looks like to me like a short-term uptrend, break new high, congestive area. And now we're getting a breakout pullback with what looks like could be sort of a lower high, or if you count from here, a failed second entry long. It just doesn't look that great to me, to be honest. I don't really have a better reason to skip that one other than just that it doesn't look right. For this one, I would also consider a lower high for NQ. Similarly though, if this downtrend is correct, why didn't you turn down lower? Why didn't you turn down lower stronger than you did there is really my question. Because you barely got a move below. And now you're kind of flip-flopping the EMA. So you went down, and you're coming back up. But I at least want to be ready for this just in case, because it could be a good lower high here.
Order submitted.
Looks like 2 legs up there. Move down. We are getting some momentum. Kind of depends on how this bar closes. It's looking a little choppy. I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence about this one. Part of me feels like I'm going to get trapped, but I'm thinking that that might be because fear, to be honest. But okay, how this bar is ending.
Order canceled.
Interested. So we're closing back above the EMA there. So we're not holding below it. It's making me think that this downtrend either could be incorrect or it's about to break. A little bit over 10 minutes left. And this is looking quite choppy. So we're not getting that continued down movement. My guess is that this downtrend, if it's correct, is probably about to break. CL, chopping. Definitely not getting the entry that I was thinking you might on CL. Instead, it looks something like that. Something like that, maybe. Pretty much exactly what I was expecting on the RTY. Downtrend's played out, now we're finding some choppiness. Still could hit this measured move, but it's pretty unlikely, probably, because of how much support we're finding here. The downtrends are playing out early. We're making higher lows now, sort of higher lows. I mean, this is a higher lows here, higher low there compared to this one. Same with this. So yeah, sort of doubting that. Let's flip back to the incur here. Potential failed second entry, but this is looking really choppy and sideways and doesn't really feel quite right to me. So it's possible that my read is entirely off here. Maybe this downtrend is incorrect, like overall incorrect. Maybe it's like this instead. If that's the case, then it could already have a break in new low. I'll have to think about that and look into that. Probably later in review. Considering we only have 10 minutes left, I don't think I'll know for sure until later. Okay, so here would be the potential failure, but like I said, it's moving so sideways. I don't feel very good about that. It's a possibility, but I don't feel very great about that. So we are getting some down movement. Have to study that one later. See if maybe that's something that I should have taken, even though it is a little bit congestive and looking sort of sideways in that area. So it's possible this was a skip out of fear after this loss. So want to mention that. I definitely am feeling more hesitant to take a trade after taking this loss. So I think that did impact me a little bit. Just wanted to mention that. You might count this as a failure with the double top failed second entry, double top first entry, second entry, but I don't take signal bars like that, so it's not even available for me to consider. It's looking like this one is moving down. Chances are it was worth taking most likely. CL ended up finding this triple test, kind of a lower low there. Not a great signal bar, not a great area for me to take such a choppy, congestive, uncertain trade, so nothing there. RTY prices are coming down to the support, so I have to see how that sort of reacts there. Both the ES and NQ are still open for maybe a second entry short. Looks like my ES trade ended up being okay, even after this congestion. Quite a strong down move there. So makes me think that this downtrend that I have drawn is correct. I had it too tight earlier whenever I took this trade, but in fact it was a little bit wider. Would have been a little bit hard to tell, so I'm gonna have to review that later as well. Seems the CL moves mostly kind of opposite to the ES and the NQ. I mean, it's been trending up basically all day while the NQ and ES have been trending down. And I believe I've seen this similar trend for the most part, but I'll have to look back at some past days and see if that's actually the case. Thinking at this point there is a pretty low chance that I get a setup in the next 5 minutes. It's a possibility to get a second entry short off the trend line. That would definitely be could be a good entry. I can't say definitely. And on the ES, there's definitely the possibility for a second entry short as well. We've really been struggling to come back to this main side of the trend line. It's possible there's another one working down, as I've mentioned before. Could be even something like that, maybe. But for right now, I'm just playing this. But there's definitely the possibility for a second entry, even though we haven't been coming off this main side. Prices have been repeatedly failing to get up there, so it's kind of okay to take a trade because prices have kind of set that precedent before. CL moving higher. RTY trying to see if it's going to find support here after the break and 2 legs down. You could see a long entry on RTY soon after this break, 2 legs down, coming off the support. Maybe a good signal bar here or higher low could be good, but we are making a new low here, so prices are kind of moving down. And it's possible that it ends up being a slightly wider downtrend like that, but for right now, this looks correct. I am going to go ahead and call it a day, though. There's nothing else really setting up now. We are getting some movement, which is great, but I'm not going to stay on late. And yeah, that's it.